Hey everyone. So, welcome to the WeFam podcast. I did my very first sit down, well, it was a Zoom call, podcast style, with a good friend of mine, Mariah. And we had a nice little conversation. It was really just us catching up and kind of checking in and discussing, where we are mentally. And we started just, discussing just different life and stuff and the past and some memories. We had a good time. It was a real good, fun time. Unfortunately, she was doing her Zoom call on her phone. So, at the very end, we're kind of go through just some fun stories, just talking about different things. Her phone does die, so the end of it kind of gets cut off real quick. But I just really hope you guys enjoy. I hope this is the first of many, and check it out. All right, so welcome to the WeFam podcast, and I am here with a very long time friend, Miss Mariah Porras. Say hello to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
So we go way back. I was just kind of doing the math a little bit ago, and man, we've known each other since we were 30, man, almost 20, almost
Don't say it. Don't say it.
almost, man, because we
Oh
met
my
when you were like
God.
14.
Yeah. You were in my quinceañera.
Yes, I was. Yes, I
Oh my God.
was.
You know what oh my God, makes me laugh is that picture of you making that face because because you swore my heel was digging into your knee.
It was.
And I was like, and in the picture, I was having such a good time. I was throwing out all the roses, and then you just see your face. You're like,
Yeah, because
like it's
we were
so
lifting you up so you could do all
yeah.
that stuff, and it was hurting. I
Oh my
remember.
God.
All right,
Yeah.
so yeah, we met back in Upward Bound when we were barely in high school. I was a sophomore when we met. You're incoming freshman,
Yeah.
and we just been really good friends ever since then. We even after school, I would come by and visit you and your family from time to time just because we were in the neighborhood and just always kind of kept that friendship going. So
Yeah.
that's been pretty cool. So kind of tell everyone who's watching what you've kind of been up to and where you're at these days.
Well, I moved out of California and I am now living in Oregon. It's been about 2 years now, and I love it. I love the move. I just decided one day, hey, I need to get out of Cali. Let's see. I've been to Texas. That didn't work out. So I'm like, I want to stay along the coast. Let's try Oregon. And I went for a weekend and I had a job interview lined up. And like that weekend, they called me back and said, yeah, you're hired if you want the job. Do you want to move to Oregon? And I was like, yes.
All
So
right.
yeah, I've been here solo, been living life here. Everyone's back
That's
at home, so it's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, but I hear from your parents from time to time when I talk to them that you try to make the trip out every once in a while, which is pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's tough during the holidays. I've been realizing. I mean, my mom and my brother's birthdays in like during Thanksgiving, so I always try to
Mm.
make it at least to that. But lately, flights have been delayed, canceled, so it's kind of hard. But I mean, it's only a 9-hour drive, so if worst comes to worst, I can always just drive back
Yeah,
home.
that's really not that bad. But that's
Yeah.
awesome. So what type of work are you doing out there?
I do the same thing, dental work, dental tech, so make some nice dentures.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Well, I kind of want to kind of get to this since this is the very first time I've ever done something like this for the We Fan podcast, and um, I've been doing the mental health Mondays, so kind of my journey of what I've been going through has kind of been documented a little bit, and I just kind of want to ask, like, where's your mental health at?
Well, it's not that great. It needs a lot of work. I mean, kind of sucks that sorry, a lot of my support is back home.
Hmm.
So, it's rough, but thank God for technology because I call them up. We do FaceTime, whatever. Even for family events, I miss it, but I'm always like on the phone watching everything. So, um, yeah, I mean, it needs some help. But
Okay.
I try to keep busy. I try to keep a positive mind.
Right.
So yeah, I
Well,
mean, and it sucks because I mean, you know me, like since my mom and dad put me into it, I was always in soccer. Soccer was my therapy. But I'm injured, so I can't play. So I have to get surgery. And yeah, that's been holding it up too.
yeah. I mean, I know exactly how you feel because, like, ever since you've known me, I've always been injured. But martial arts and other stuff that I've been doing has always been the same type of therapy. But I noticed that right after high school, when the injuries got really bad, that I couldn't actually compete for the longest time, and that was kind of taking a big wear and tear on me. But I was always trying to find different things to kind of help me out. But the older we get, certain things just don't hit the same, especially as we get older and we have a little more limitations. It's been really difficult. And I know
Yeah.
before we started, hit record. We're talking about how we really haven't spoken in quite a while. We really hadn't got a chance to kind of catch up. And I know that we really haven't. I haven't given you much detail on what's kind of going on with me. But so I don't want this to be just a one sided thing. So kind of give you kind of a stay where I'm at. So yes, my wife is leaving me, and I've been having to deal with that, and it was horrible. Like it really felt like, I was losing something, or I couldn't hold on to something for the longest time, and I was broken. There were some really really dark days, real dark days, and even though, yeah, I'm still here in California with my family, but it's like even then it's hard not to feel alone, and just kind of really hard to kind of reach out to people. And at first, I was really like feeling super alone because I didn't want to put the business of what's going on between me and my wife out there and kind of really like step on her toes. But after a while, just I really had to just find a way to reach out. And you know, I've said this before. I've had this conversation with other people. Even just calling somebody to tell them your problems, one of the hardest things to do. And I still have a hard time
Mhm.
doing that. And then there's certain people that you could call, but the way that that certain people kind of give you type of advice, or they talk to you about those situations, is kind of counterproductive because it becomes
Yeah.
more of a talking down to situation. So that's why I kind of started doing these videos, and I've always thought about doing a podcast, and hopefully I can try to help people kind of get some of their emotions out there and kind of talk about that. So is there anything kind of going on specifically that you've been really kind of like struggling with without having to go into
Um,
too much detail you're not comfortable with?
no, I mean it's cool. Let's see. I mean, besides my knee, besides not playing soccer, I mean it's tough, but I mean it's slowly getting there. Hopefully by the end of this year I'll have my surgery. So year of recovery. I'll just get back to it. That's mostly it. But I mean another thing, it's been really hard to date. Um, especially like right now, temptation is everywhere. Social media, everything. Um, yeah, I mean, I met a few guys, and first guy I thought he was really cool. He was also from California, from San Jose. So I'm like, cool, we have something in common. There was times when we would just rent a car and we would drive back home, and we would spend time with our family. And then Sunday comes around, we just drive back home. It was nice. We went on trips together, and I was like, okay, like this guy, he's okay. This might be into like something more. And he didn't want a relationship. So I was like, okay, well, that's a bummer. So, but it was kind of weird. Like he didn't he didn't want the title, but he wanted us to act as if we were in a relationship. And I was like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, is there an age gap between you and he?
he's older
Oh, he's
by,
older.
yeah, by 2 years. So he's like 35.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's that's always like one of the weird things. Like a lot of people want to do like that couple stuff, but not really want to have that commitment of being a couple. I mean, I know when I was younger, before I met my wife, I was kind of the same way, but I was a young man at the same time. But from the story you telling me, he was doing some mighty couple type shit that
Yes.
you really shouldn't be doing with a person if this isn't somebody you're trying to be in a relationship with. Like that's full on family trips, and that's doing a whole lot. And then to not
Yeah.
really want to have that type of title, that strikes me as very odd. That's a uh pretty foul way of going about certain things. But then again,
Yeah.
commitment for other people is completely different, and I don't want to like down talk the dude either because people aren't all built the same. They don't think the same way. So,
Yeah.
but still, that's a lot to deal with.
And I get it. I know he was hurt in his past. He was in a really long relationship with someone and it ended bad. So I mean, I get it, and I was patient with him. And we went on trips together as friends, but yet kind of seemed like we were a couple. But like slowly I started asking him like, okay, so if this isn't really gonna go anywhere, then I have no business in this. Like
Well,
I
good for
I'm
you.
looking, I'm looking for something like in a committed relationship. If I'm gonna be spending my money, my time into someone, it better be worth it. Like don't waste
Right,
my time. And
right. Even if it's not gonna be where you guys end up in, a marriage, at least it's got to be something where it's not gonna just be some type of like, you know, friends with benefits shit. Because in the end, that's always gonna end up pretty foul anyway.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, even though like we've been hurt, we hurt each other, we've had these conversations. I mean, we're still okay. I don't see him every weekend like how we used to. But I do message him because he does have a lot going for him too. Like, his mental health isn't the best, but I try to be there for him. I try to ask him how he's doing, any plans or whatever. If he's free, let's hang out. But we haven't hung out in a while, which is good for me because I get attached
Yeah,
and
I was just gonna say because I'm that way. I'm that way where you have an understanding of how somebody is, so you kind of want to look past either the hurt that they're causing you or the just the bad situation and try to be there for somebody. And somebody really close to me is that way too. And I've always gave them shit for it. Like you're putting yourself in a worse place. You're letting people walk all over you. And then I started realizing I'm kind of the same way too. And I'll put myself in there. Like I've been told way too many times. You guys actually used to tell me this back in the day that I'm too nice at times.
yeah,
Not, yeah, obviously I could be an asshole when I'm being stupid, but like when it comes to certain things, like I'm too quick to want to help somebody in need. And I've noticed, especially when it comes to like relationship type stuff, that there was a lot of times where I was bending over backwards for people in situations where I wasn't getting that same type of thing back. And in the end, you're kind of just setting yourself up for failure or setting yourself up for heartbreak. So it's something
yeah,
you kind of got to really be careful with. You don't want to not be the person you are. You don't want to not be a caring person, but you just also have to remember too, like your feelings can get taken advantage of real quick just because you want to kind of be there for others. So it's
yeah.
just be careful with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always been like my downfall. I get into these relationships and I end up getting hurt. I end up falling for the wrong guys, like red flags everywhere, but I'm just like, no, it'll get better. We can work through it. Like I'm always trying to find the best in someone. I'm always trying to make it work. But yeah, I end up getting hurt.
Yeah. Funny story. So I was just having a conversation with somebody, and I'm gonna try to be as vague as possible because I don't want to put anybody out there on Front Street. But I was talking about that one relationship back in the day that you were in. Do you know what
Yes,
I'm talking about?
yes.
And so the person I was talking to about that guy was like, "You don't like him, do you?" I said, "It's not ever that I didn't like him. It's the fact that I was protective over my little buddy way more than my connection with that individual
Yeah,
because so like the person I was talking to is really close to that guy, and we're like so again I'm trying to be I don't want to put nobody on Front Street, I don't want nobody's business, but he's like you never liked him, did you? I was like no, I love the guy, I have no problem. But back then in those times, it's like Mariah was closer and more important to me, and the way that that person was treating you at the time was like, you're not coming for my little buddy. Don't you dare.
Yeah,
That's how it was. It was
yeah,
pretty funny. Over the years, after we've all become adults. I treat that person like family if I see them. But how often do we really get to make time to see people that were in our lives back then? Which is
yeah,
like I said, I used to come to your parents' house and we do just what we're doing right now,
yeah.
but every couple of weeks, maybe a month, every other month, and just hang out. And how often do we make time for that?
I know, I know.
I
So cool.
especially now with coming to terms with being single again, coming to terms with you know not being with the person who I thought I was gonna be spending my life with. I started reflecting on like a lot of like past relationships, past friendships, just in general. Like, what happened to everyone? Where is everybody now? Like, I've tried to contact or look for like certain people we also hang out with, and like I can't even find them on social media anymore. It's like some people just disappeared off the face of this planet,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
which is sad to say. But then again, you really get to hang on to the good memories you have with some of these friends from back then.
Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people just choose not to put themselves out there, which is like, it's brave of them, it's smart of them to do because, everything is just on social media. Like, and how real do you know what it is that they're posting? Like,
Right.
someone like me can be in such a funk, like crying all day, but like posting like happy, like good vibes, like posts. Like, how real do you know what's going on?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's actually like as soon as I started making my mental health Monday videos, that's what people were telling me. Like I wouldn't get a lot of engagement. Like there's not a lot of likes, there's not a lot of comments and stuff like that. But there were a lot of DMs of people just saying, "Hey, thank you for doing this." Or I'll run into people actually in real life, and they're like, "I'm so grateful that you did this." Funny story, actually. There was a person who I literally just met this person on Sunday, and we had a small interaction with each other, and we became social media friends that day. And then the very next day on Monday, I posted my video, and then I posted another video on Tuesday, just an extra video. Then they DM me real quick thanking me that the things I was saying in the video really connected with them, really stuck with them, and that they had been going through a really hard time. And the reason why I met them out and about, and they were fairly intoxicated that day. They had told me that they had really been going on a weekend just of partying because they were such in a bad place. And the fact that we actually got a moment to meet, and then they stumble upon the videos that I created, that it really resonated with them, that they need to start taking their mental health into consideration, and not just going out there trying to party and have fun and try to just hide the pain, and actually put in the work towards their mental health. So I really think that we just, we got to be real with ourselves. Social media is great. I love posting stuff. I like posting the good stuff, posting my daughter, but I I really need to post the days when I'm sad, when I'm crying, when I'm angry, when it's just not, those good times, because people don't want to show that. And if they don't show that, they're not being real. And I'm not gonna say I'm the realest person in the world, but I was broken for the longest time, and I was thinking some dark thoughts for a second. It's like, if what I could say can help somebody get, kind of go in a better direction, I'm hoping I can.
Yeah. And yeah, like it could be it's anyone, like you, family man, and then me, I don't have children. I don't have my family here. Like it could be anybody, everyone is going through something. And it's nice to just let it out, have friends like you to talk to because, it to be honest, like I haven't had this conversation like being open in a long time. So,
I'm glad I kind of gave you the opportunity to do so. Do you have much like friend group type stuff out there?
um I do have a friend here. Me and her connected really well. I do have a coworker too, so I have both of them. They're complete opposites, so it's nice to hear when I tell one person one thing and they tell me their opinion in the other. So it's nice to hear it.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, they don't judge me. They understand. They don't tell me what I should and shouldn't do, which is great. They just listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
are you allowing yourself to like, you know, not search for other people, but open to the idea of, if you're out with some friends and a gentleman might approach you, are you open to that type of stuff? Or you're like, you know what, this last one was kind of like funky and kind of weird still. Let me just kind of like kick back on this right now.
yeah. So one time I was at the bar with my friend, and it was like a group of guys that were there, and one guy came up to me and he was like talking to me for a bit, and he was like, "Hey," he was like, "Can I get your number?" And I was like, "Huh." I was like, "This guy looks really young." And I'm like, "Well, how old are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm 26." And I'm like, I'm 32. I'm telling you right now." And he was like, "Oh," he's like, "I feel like I'm a matured man. Honestly, like your age doesn't matter. I really vibe with you." So yeah, I was like, okay. I have good conversation with him. He's a nice guy. But
Okay.
he's young. I mean, it's just nice to talk to someone.
So you think 26 is young. So I know
Oh
I'm
yes.
33. I'm 33, and right now I think my numbers of comfortability, I would say is 25 for me right now. Probably my youngest as well, like around 25. I would be
Okay.
open. I would be open to slightly younger. I do think it's a little weird at times when you kind of think about it, but then again, I kind of like we're all adults. It really just does. It's got
Yeah.
to be it's the vibe. I mean,
Yes.
I did speak with a young lady about 3 weeks ago, 3 4 weeks ago, and it was a flirtatious type of situation, but it wasn't really a serious thing. But they
Okay.
are, they're in college. I believe that person was maybe 23. And, you know, that was something, you know what? If, you weren't in town visiting from somewhere, this is something I would try. You're cool. I would kind of get to know. But again, just that thought of like lower than that was just kind of a little weird for me.
I think a maturity level makes a
It's
difference.
really, what about your high number? What's your high number?
So, I am mostly attracted to an older gentleman. Not
Okay.
super old, but I mean,
Then again, remember
um,
you were saying super. What's some people's super is
I
different than
mean,
somebody's.
I think a cutoff. Okay, I'm 32. I think my cutoff would, maybe like 45. Maybe I think
Okay.
that's a little
I
too
was,
high too, but uh,
I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say I would like, I wouldn't mind going into the 40s, depending on
40s. Yeah, maybe like a
the
solid 42.
like the attractiveness is there and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good rate. We've always been kind of on the same page with a lot of things growing up too.
Yeah, I mean, the last guy I talked to, he was 35, and we didn't talk about this, but I had just recently had a relationship, but it honestly lasted like 2 months, and he
Oh,
was my age. And so the whole reason why I reached out to you was because he has a daughter,
mhm.
and she's 8. So I wanted to talk to like father, like see in your opinion, like what you would think about certain situations. But
Okay.
I mean, I've dated someone who's had a kid too. And he was older. I think we started dating, I was 27 and he was 30. So I mean, I always tend to date slightly older guys.
I I think I remember who you're talking about.
Yeah, the previous one with the son.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. I remember him. I
Yeah,
remember your that relationship. Yes.
we were together for a while. And
Hmm.
I mean, we still talk, we're still cool. He's
That's
friends with
awesome.
my family, so he's always around. So it's nice that we can still communicate well with each other, that we're
I
still
do
friends.
love when connections can still stay civil. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But
go
yeah,
on.
this recent one, um, his daughter, she's not even 10 yet, and he's my age. Um, yeah, I mean, red flag number one, I should have known when he didn't have a job, but he was looking. So I'm like, okay, you're looking. As long as you're doing that, we're good. Um,
Right.
but I've been placed in situations where I felt uncomfortable, and the first few times I would tell him, and he would kind of get upset, and so then I stopped telling him. I started just keeping it to myself until one day I was just like, you know what? I don't need to deal with this. Like, I've dealt with so much before. I moved here for a reason. I'm working on myself. I don't need I don't need to be wasting my time on a guy that, for one, doesn't have a job, that doesn't know what he's gonna do. I'm tired of just waiting. So yeah,
Mhm.
I told him. I was like, I'm sorry. And he understood, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I I can understand from from a male's perspective, especially if he does have a daughter. He's trying to still have that like social life. He's still trying to have that, try to go on there and date. But he's him getting a little more aggravated with him not having a job. It's just kind of a play on on his manhood. He like if he's being questioned on the lack of having a job, it feels like it's like a question on him being as a man, especially with him having a daughter. So I can see why, but it also doesn't negate the fact that he does need to get on track and not treat being questioned about getting a job as, you know, you're kind of like talking down to him. It's like it could be also a support thing too. Some people need to kick in the butt to say, hey, you got to get on the ball. Like you're over here trying to be in a relationship with you, but you also have a daughter you have to support at the same time. It's
Yes.
hard because I know I'm blessed. I've been able to have a career in something that I love to do, and it's made me a pretty happy broke guy because it pays the bills, but I'm not over here rolling in dough. Freaking,
Yeah.
I'm over at the club with these fake chains, and everyone's like over here like hanging like compliment like man that thing is shiny. I'm like yeah I got it for $20 like but I've been blessed enough to to always be employed. So, but I can
Yeah.
imagine if like heaven forbid something happens, I lose my business. I'm over here trying to scramble for work and a job. But I also think too in that situation, as a man, he probably shouldn't be thinking about making a connection
Yes.
romantically. It should really be about getting on his feet. Again, I'm
Yes.
not trying to badmouth him, but it just from this outside perspective, it's something he should really be focusing on first. I mean, hey, if he is a good guy and he really starts to get on his feet and he's in a place where he can really start to kind of, you know, provide for himself and his daughter and be in a place where he's not really having to be in a down and out position, you know, to be able to either reach out or, really start finding that type of love for himself too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just feel like his priorities just weren't there. And me going into the relationship, I figured, but this is just me, my thoughts, like thinking, okay, this guy's a dad. Oh, he must have somewhat of an idea of what's going on. He has to think about a whole other person. So he must be thinking ahead of time. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a parent. So, I can't make these like I just
Uh,
can't. So
these assumptions. I know
so
I've only been a
his
go
style
ahead.
was good. Like he knew how to dress, but it's kind of like those memes, or like I seen pictures of like oh, you show up to a guy's house and his bathroom looks like this. Like what do you do? Literally it was his bathroom. And I was just like, do you clean? Do you like have soap, like shampoo, conditioner for your daughter? Like I know she stays with you. Like total total big difference of what I first seen him as, like on our first date.
Right.
And that should have been also red flag number two. Um, but I was like, you know what? He's struggling. He doesn't have a job. So I mean I can see why, but I still try to make it work. I always try to look for the good in a person. I'm always
Yeah.
trying to push, thinking, yes, this is gonna work, but I feel like that's my downfall. Like that's what always ends up getting me hurt at the end.
Yeah, it's I preach this to my students all the time. Life is all about balance. It really is because we want to have those connections, but we also and like we want to be there for people, but we also have to find that time where we're really trying to be there for ourselves too. It's like we can't always be, searching for a certain thing or trying to be something for somebody else and then wind up in the same situation. And that's where a lot of people start to like when they become older, they sort of change a lot or become more jaded because they were so far over here for such a long time where I'm always looking on the bright side or you're always trying to be there, do for others that eventually you just get so fed up with it, you kind of become that grouchy old cat lady.
Yeah, right? Hey, I'm fine if that's me.
uh, Cats are cool sometimes, I guess.
No, lots of puppies, lots of dogs.
Yeah, I'm more of a dog guy too. I mean, unfortunately, with this whole situation, I'm moving back to my mom's house, and I kind of told myself once I kind of get to a situation where I kind of know what my schedule is going to be like, how things and you know kind of navigating this new like dynamic I'm going to be having. That's something I do want to do. I want to give myself a dog again because all the apartments I lived with my wife, we weren't allowed to have dogs. I know my daughter loves them. She gets a little afraid of them, but she loves them. So it's like maybe if one get like a little puppy one day, that'll be a
Yeah.
kind of nice to have. Just I love that companionship. I had a dog for like 15 years. His name was Chico, and I love Chico. So I kind of want to why not one day just kind of get back to having
Yeah.
that other little companion at the same time.
Yeah, that's something I'm missing too. I need I need a companion. I need my a dog here. So I've been looking for
Okay.
a dog to get. So just so that way I have someone to cuddle with at night, like go on adventures with,
Right on.
go on
Right on.
hikes because here in Oregon there's a lot of great hikes. It's beautiful here, so it'll be
Awesome.
nice to have a buddy to go with.
Maybe that's the type of dog you need to find. Not them dogs in the bar, but the dog
Right? Oh my God. Yes.
that.
Oh my God. Yeah, no more. I was like, so I already talked to my brother about all this and I mean it was through text, but yeah, he was like, no more guys, like he's like, you're a single independent bitch now. So he's like, focus on yourself, no more guys. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna focus on myself. I have so much. I'm still trying to get back on my feet. I mean, when I left California, I had broken up with a relationship that didn't work out, and he ended up keeping the dog.
Mhm.
So that broke me. I lost both of them. So when I moved here, like I literally went through all of my savings and I had to just work, 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 get back. And like I'm just barely recuperating from all of that. I'm just barely getting back with my bills and everything. So finally pretty steady. Yeah, I feel like it's just one thing after another, but I just gotta focus on myself. No more dating.
Okay.
No more worrying about someone else, putting someone else ahead of me. I just gotta work on myself now.
I feel it. I mean, right now, I probably, I probably try to get into where like I was trying to like, talk or date a little early. Yeah, not luckily, but just by kind of circumstance, the dates I've had lined up, um, they all kind of fell through at the last minute. All of them. It's only been like a few instances, but the people that I've lined these dates up with, I've kept in contact where I do kind of. It's not like this giant roster of people, but there's a few women that I've been talking to here and then they're awesome. And what's amazing is like the ones that I've actually kind of connected with, where it's something that I'm kind of interested in. They're all women who kind of have their shit together, which is pretty nice. And like
Okay.
the reason why we don't really have like there's a lot of like reasons why we don't get to hang out is because we're all busy. And unfortunately, my profession, I work in the evening no matter what. So it's like I'm free all day, but then when most people are getting off of work, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
And because the way that I am, I'm a night owl. Like just last night, I went home to grab something, and my daughter was just really like whining and saying, "No, dad cuddle, daddy cuddle, daddy cuddle." So we
Oh,
all ended up just passing out in the bed. I'm just passing out like maybe 9:45, 10 o'clock. I never go to sleep. I ended up waking up at 2:30, wide awake, because
oh my God.
I normally go to bed around 1, 2 o'clock in the night. So it's like I'm normally not in bed till late. And even on the weekends, I picked up that second job working security. And so even on the weekends, I'm not coming home till 2 or 3:30 at night. And I'm just constantly going. So it's kind of hard with my schedule. And when I'm trying to be up and about, most people are going to bed ready to go to work the next day. So it kind of makes things kind of difficult to really have a love life for myself at the same time too, which if you talk to my mom, that's probably a blessing. She says, just focus on
Yeah.
yourself. Don't really worry. And I'm actually trying to be as upfront with anybody I do talk to. It's like I just got out of a relationship. I just, a long relationship, and it was a whole marriage. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to get myself back at that. I'm not trying to sit and wallow and just say what was me, and then all this other, and just kind of long for her. I need to put myself out there, but also not, be too quick to jump into anything either. And that's what I've been trying to like make sure I make it a point to kind of express in all my different talkings to anybody. So I just don't want to be with that guy that like tries to talk a bunch of game and try to get into a girl's bed, and all of a sudden all this shit kind of pops up, because I lied a lot as a kid, as a young person, and every
Mhm.
single one of them lies came out to the surface, and made my life a living hell. So it's like I'd rather just be as upfront as possible. I mean, it's not to say that I don't lie. Everyone does. It's just I do my best to try to keep everything out in the front and just say, hey, look, it is what it is, and if this kind of messes things up, then I'd rather mess that up through the truth than for me to lie about it now and later on get caught and it's even worse.
Yeah. I feel like ever since my last relationship back in California, I've learned like through dating, like just be real, just be straight up with your expectations, just be upfront, not saying like, oh, I want to get married. I plan on getting married pretty soon, this date, whatever. But I mean, just be honest, say what you're looking for. Like, I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking for someone that I can go on trips with. We're gonna grow together. I know that not everyone's perfect. So, let's be a group. Let's, be a team.
Hmm.
Um, but other people like they come into it too. They're like, yeah, that's what I want. But then you realize like, no, then why are you acting this way? Why are you treating me this way? Like, just be real. Like, don't
Yeah,
waste my time. Don't waste anybody's time, you know?
I
So
mean, definitely.
I've learned that. Um, maybe that's why I'm scaring off everybody. I don't know. But I mean, I'm not saying I want marriage, but I'm just saying that, I'm looking for someone to be with. Um,
Right.
but I don't know, maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places for it, but it's not like I need to do it now. I'm done. No more dating.
Hey, I've actually had a few family members who, for their entire lives have said, "Psh, I ain't getting married. I ain't doing that shit," blah, 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 blah," and had like relationships in and out for years, and they're like into their get into them golden years almost, and then they just recently found their person and got married recently. So it's like it's never too
Aw.
late. You just got to make sure that you kind of stick to who you are, what you want, and don't be so rigid that you can't compromise, but also don't uh don't pass up an opportunity that could come your way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I know
uh,
I keep my options, my mind open. I'm always seeing whatever comes at me, but honestly, I'm not searching for it, not waiting for something to come around.
Now, are
Yeah.
you doing anything to help you with your mental health? You say that sometimes are struggling. It's a process outside of just kind of reaching out to your friends and your family members. Is there anything that you're doing outside of that? Just that?
No, I think that's something that I need to work on. I thought about therapy, um, but I haven't had the time. I haven't had the time to go around it or even
Hmm.
go. I need to, or even talk to anybody.
I mean, I am I'm a big advocate for therapy. I really am. I mean, therapy. Like, I'm even kind of get emotional about like how much it's helped me because I I was in such before my breakup. I was going to therapy because I have been dealing with anger issues my entire life, and I just I was blaming so many people around me for making me angry, but I wasn't doing anything to like help or fix what was going on with me that just made me have a hard time dealing with my anger. And I legitimately just sought out anger management class on my own. I sought out therapy on my own because I was a newly married man at the time when I did this, and I was like, I'm not going to be in this relationship with somebody when I can just fly off the handle or do things out of spite, and I don't want to do that. And I believe that sometimes I did do things like that in our relationship before we got married. And
Mhm.
I knew that once I got married, I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm over here fighting with my mom every weekend. I get snappy. I was getting snappy with my partner and all this other stuff. And I had to take that step. And then unfortunately, I had just started the process of doing therapy. I was in therapy for a couple of weeks, and then I had started an anger management course. And I was on my second or third week of anger management, and the day of my anger management class, I was leaving my house. That's when my best friend Maurice had come to visit me at my new place, and we were there having a good time and just talking. And I went from my house to anger management, and he never met at home. So I I got to an even worse place, and you can just imagine where my mental state was there. And then I really just rechecked in with my therapist, and COVID hit. So I couldn't go in person anymore. So that's what I
Yeah.
say. Like, there's to be honest with you, there's never really truly a good excuse as to not, because most places or most therapists now at post COVID do things virtually now. Because once that happened, we were meeting on the phone for regular phone visits. We were doing FaceTimes like this, and it was very needed. I feel like um, last time we met was end of February, and we had kind of got to a point where we didn't need, such a frequent meetings anymore. But that's because since 2020, I've really just been on top of doing whatever I need for mental health, and I try to preach as much as possible. Even people that like are having hard times but feel they're not that bad, I still say if you just find a way to get to therapy, it's an amazing thing to talk to somebody that is completely disconnected. Like, I think
Yeah.
right now, just us kind of talking to each other is great because we don't see each other as often. So it's a
Oh, yeah,
it's a
no.
it's a disconnected voice. But to have somebody who truly doesn't know you, has no biases towards the people you're talking to, because no matter what, I could talk to so many people, but they might have an idea of who I am and want to be on my side for certain things. And I can say, hey, yeah, this person did this, and a friend's like, yeah, you don't need that bitch, fuck that person. But a therapist is always going to look at you and be like, look, this is what's being said, but this is what I'm hearing, and try to like, help you think of it from an outside perspective.
Yeah, sorry. Just
Oh, good.
shit
So
is
again,
done.
like, if you really could just find that time to find a therapist and see about getting some type of video appointments where it can really work through your schedule, I highly recommend it. Because I mean, I'm not a therapist. I've just been broken long enough time to kind of have an understanding of like, hey, we need to take a step back, take a few big deep breaths, and understand that like there's different paths we could take to try to find peace and happiness.
Yeah, I know. I've heard like you're not the only one that's told me, how much therapy has helped them. Um, like family members have told me, So yeah, I mean, that's one major thing that I want to get into to help with my personal health, with my mental health. It's nice to talk to someone like you said, because your friends, people are just gonna be telling you what you want, what they think you want to hear. But yeah, it's nice to hear from someone who doesn't know you, who has a professional opinion.
Yeah. And then mom and Imelda, if you hear this, talking to our mothers is amazing, but no matter what, it's always going to end up feeling like a lecture at some point. So it's
Oh
like,
my God, yes.
so it's
Yes.
like
Mom knows that
some.
already.
So
Mom,
sometimes we just gotta get that outside perspective. Like we love our moms, and they're our go to when we need certain things. But the reason why we don't want to go sometimes is because we just don't want to get that tone of like we're being lectured for something we shouldn't be doing type of situation.
yeah, yes. Um, but yeah, I mean, I thought about that. You know, working out, but it's minimal right now because my knee. So
Hmm.
I mean, I can run, but I haven't fully tried it out yet. I'm scared, don't want anything to get worse than what it is. Um, so I can't go for runs. The only thing is, I try to go to the gym.
Hmm.
Um, but I really wish I can just go back to playing soccer because that helped me out so much.
Yeah, I mean, oh my goodness. So this last Tuesday, a friend of mine that I met at work, he's a bartender at SB2, and he's a longtime martial artist, and I do Taekwondo, so it's always been a striking type of sport. But
Uh-huh.
he's done a bunch of different stuff, but he actually does. His main style is jujitsu, and he's amazing. He's awesome. Like the stuff that he was talking about and the way he was describing certain things, it was just like I was in awe of him because I could really see the knowledge and the breakdown, all the different stuff he was talking about. And I'm always the teacher. I'm always the one teaching my students what to do and all this other stuff. So I had him come in and kind of teach a class and use me as his like test dummy. And he was throwing me around. This man lifted me up like I was like nothing. Like I was a damsel in distress almost. And I was like, whoa. My students were laughing because they haven't seen me get tossed around. They kept
Yeah,
looking at me like I'm over here wincing in pain because he's twisting me and doing this and threw me to the
they're like,
ground. They're like,
yeah, about time.
they're like a lot of them are like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like,
Aw,
"No, I'm having the best time of my life right now." Like all like the pain I was feeling, it's like I was having such because it's like it's something that like I love to do, being a student and learning and doing all this other stuff. So it's like just being able to get back to that was is amazing, and I don't really understand how much you're missing it. Just you got to be patient. You got to be patient. Try to get back to your body 100%. Just try to find those other outlets, whether it's therapy or other things. I even
yeah,
started using that Headspace. You heard of that?
no, I don't think
So it's an
so.
app. It's an app called Headspace, and it's got meditations and just different podcasts and different things that talk about mental health and had different types of meditation things you could do. And it even like if you get like the premium whatever, it has like a plan or a regimen of things you could do to kind of help you with that kind of stuff. And it has some really very interesting things in there. It even just has like
Okay.
bedtime story type stuff to help you kind of go to sleep when your mind's just kind of racing and everything. So it might be something like that. You kind of have to pay for it, but it's something you might want to think about. I think I paid like $60 for a whole year, and that's it.
Okay.
So it's like it was worth a try. And I was, hey, I go to the gym, put it on, go right before bed, put something on, and it's something that kind of just helps me out. Or just Audible. Audible's been really good for me. Just listening to books and just trying to. I go through the Harry Potter books at least once a year.
Yeah. I've been
So
reading
like,
too. I've been reading
awesome.
a lot of books. So I kind of just like get out of reality for a bit and yeah, just dive into a book. It's nice too.
That's good.
Yeah, but yeah, I haven't really considered anything else.
Mm.
Um, I've been working two jobs, so I've had no days off. I work weekends too, so
Yeah. 7
it
days
gets
a week.
yeah.
What's your second job?
I work at a memory care facility. So I work the front desk. It's
Okay.
simple. It's an easy job, but honestly, it's really hard. And that too, that doesn't help either because like you get really close to these residents there,
Hmm.
and a lot of them have dementia, Alzheimer's, and you start seeing their families come in all the time. You talk to them, and like maybe a month later, you hear that they had passed away. And the
Mm.
poor family members, they come in and they're cleaning out their rooms, and it's really hard too. Um, so yeah, I'm just like surrounding myself with all this, but
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it is nice to like talk to other people too,
Yeah.
just to communicate, even though, I don't really know them, but to have them open up to me, it's really nice.
Hmm. I mean, you also think of you have to think on that side, like you're getting to meet somebody you probably would have met. You're getting to give them a moment of 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 either peace or happiness, being able to get that connection with somebody else that, on these last few days that you have, you're giving them something extra before they're gone. So it's like it's a sad situation, but you also think too, like there is a positive, even if you're just at the front desk, but they're coming by and you're giving them a smile. And I know you're a little perky ass, hey,
Yeah,
little
I'm like,
but so it's like there is like a very positive thing that you're doing, even if you're just working the desk. So
yeah.
sometimes you have to really think about on that side, whether even regardless it's going to be sad, but just try to find that positivity in what's going on. It's hard to find it, but it's always there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I might have to look into one of those. Um, the talk to a therapist for sure. Now that I have my
Definitely.
insurance, can find a good therapist. Or I know that there's like other places that I can go to.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also nice, especially talking to you. I mean, it's been a while and it's nice to catch up. And
Heck yeah.
just to talk to someone who I know is not going to tell me, oh, what you're doing is wrong or you're in the right. Like you
Yeah.
just listen, and it's
Actually,
nice.
I'm very thankful that we've been able to maintain our friendship over these years because I
Yes.
never, if that day we met back in Upper Bound, if you're gonna say that you and I were gonna have like the longest lasting like friendship out of that entire time, I would have thought you're crazy. Like
Yeah,
legitimately, like
same.
I talk to you, I talk to Andrew from time to time still, the rapper singer dude. I talk to
Yes.
him from time to time. I see Christina once in a great while.
Oh,
There's a few people like I run into, but like, our friendship is always like maintained and stayed pretty much the strongest out of all those people, which is amazing. I'm thankful for that.
that's good. I know
Yeah.
I go to like Cali Roots or reggae festivals, and I'm always hitting up
Um,
Christina. I'm like, hey girl, I know you're here. So,
so
but
I'm so mad because once I became single and I started kind of, I need to do it for myself. I had the money for a full weekend at Kelly Roots, and I'm
yeah,
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. But it's Memorial Day weekend, and normally it's a big promotional event in Morgan Hill, the Mushroom Mardi Gras Festival.
yes, that's right. Uh-huh.
And I'm so mad. So I said, you know what? To heck with it. I'm gonna buy a Friday because Common Kings are my favorite. I love Common Kings with a passion. I'm about to get the crown tattooed on me one day. Like I love
Oh
Common Kings,
yes.
and they're playing Friday. So you know what? I'm going Friday. I don't care. No one's going to tell me nothing. I'm going solo bolo, and I got my ticket. And then just a few weeks ago, they said that they canceled the Mushroom Mardi Gras.
Oh yes.
So
See.
so I
Perfect.
might try to call some extra days, but I do have a good reason why not to go Saturday because I have some really good friends that are getting married on that Saturday.
Okay.
So I still
Yeah.
can't do the full weekend, but I'm still going Friday. I may comp another either the Thursday or maybe the Sunday, but then I have that wedding on Saturday. So, but I'm still
Okay.
just I've never gone to Kelly Roots and I've always wanted to, so it's finally like that little bucket list thing I'm getting to
Amazing.
do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so much fun. I'm actually this year I'm going to Tahoe for the Tahoe Festival. And
Okay.
um it happens to be on one of my friends' birthday weekend. So
Okay.
it
Cool.
works out perfectly. I'm like, we can just go one day. We don't have to go all weekend. We could party the other days, but for sure, because I want to see Stick Figure and J-Bug is gonna be there.
Oh,
So
love J Bug. Love J
yeah,
Bug.
and the Green, they're playing here in Oregon in Portland. So I'm
Okay.
going to that. It's on a Sunday, but I'm like, I'm gonna go see them.
Okay. When's that?
The one in Portland, that one is uh in July, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you
You know,
heard
you,
a
you
couple of their songs?
oh yeah, the green? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. There's one that pops. So we'll have like we'll play like a reggae song on YouTube, and then this goes on this little train. There's one that my daughter loves. I forget which one, but it's which one is it? Something about like coming home. I forget, but it's always playing. It's like one that always pops up. My daughter always like perks up with that one. So, but like I
Oh,
would love. So you got to give me the information. Maybe I'll just take a little flight out to Portland and go watch it with you.
yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I bought two tickets. So if my friend doesn't want to go, there's a ticket.
Hey, keep
So
me posted on that, because if not, then heck, I might make that little trip. I got some points.
yeah, it's on a Sunday. It's on a Sunday.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
for sure.
Actually, no. They're going. I'm gonna see them in. It's in June. It's in June.
Hmm.
I'm gonna see them a week before I go to the Tahoe Festival.
Okay,
So I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, that's fine.
right on, right on. Yo,
Yeah.
I got to real quick, just how I told you I love Common Kings. So last year, I had a karate competition in Las Vegas, and it just so happens that the Common Kings were doing a show at one of the pool party areas, and they
Oh,
had. So my wife and I, we went because we both love Common Kings, and we go, and we have a blast. We're up and down, dancing, having a great time. They even put me in like the little hype video just that they posted a few weeks later. Well, they had a VIP meet and greet, and in that VIP meet and greet, you could have bought the tickets for it. And like we're like, no, let's just go. Well, at the end of their set, we kind of was hanging out, having a drink. We look, and my wife was like, or my ex, got to get
it's
used to that.
habit. Yeah.
Got to get used to it. But she was like, look, there doesn't look like they're like really like checking tickets or anything. So we started walking up, walking up. I guess they didn't sell a lot of meet and greet tickets because they just, as soon as we walked in, we thought we were being sneaky. They just said, "Hey, y'all,
No.
come party." What happened? Ah, oh man. Well, looks like our phone died, everybody. So we'll see about editing this one out. So this was a great podcast, and it was my very first one. Let's see how this kind of keeps going. Hopefully, I can talk to a lot more cool people like this in the future and get some really good, fun stories out of it. So, hope you all had a good one. Be good. Remember who you are. Take a deep breath. Remember who you want to be.